Hey guys, so I'm feeling real chitty chatty right now, so I thought it would be a good time to make a video and talk about the journey to bloom and talk about how that even came about, how that even became a journey, and what that all even means. I think at some point we should all get to a place where we start to ask questions. We start to ask a lot of questions, and questions pertaining to who we are, and questions surrounding why we think the way we think, and why we do the things that we do, and why we behave in certain ways, and why we make certain decisions, and where did it all come from? Like, I believe that everything has a point or a place of origin. Everything comes from somewhere. Like, who we are is a direct result of where we came from. You know what I'm saying? So if you start to study where you came from, and you trace it back to the beginning, then you can make sense of who you are right now and why you are the way that you are. So for me, I think I got to a point in my life where I needed to take a hard pause, because I feel like I got caught up in a perpetual cycle, repeating just certain thoughts, and perpetually doing certain things, and perpetually placing myself in certain situations, and as a result, perpetually getting the same results, right? And so as I realized, like, okay, something has to give, something is not clicking, because I keep finding myself in the same predicaments, right? And so I had to just stop and start to undress myself. I had to allow myself to really go there and to start digging, trying to figure out, who the hell am I? Like, why am I doing these things? And why am I making these decisions? Some decisions that were to my own detriment. Like, decisions that were compromising my own well-being and happiness and peace. So it's like, it's one thing to not know, but then it's another thing to kind of be perpetually repeating the same things, right? So that's kind of where it started for me, really becoming curious, desperate even to meet another her. Like, I've always innately known, and even at that point where I really started to really go there, I innately knew that there was something more on the inside of me. Like, I knew that there was better. I knew that there was bigger. I knew that there was a way for me to expand, if only I can just figure out how. And the how was me being intentional about my healing, me being very intentional about my expansion, right? There were so many points in my life where I feel like I was reaching out, trying to grasp her, but I would grasp her, but I couldn't hold on. And then I find myself, again, doing some of the same things and repeating some of the same behaviors and thinking some of the same thoughts, right? So, that's where the journey began. Again, I became very intentional about my healing, because, like I said, I knew that I wanted to experience something different. Like, I knew that there were curses that I needed to break within the constructs of my family. Like, I knew that something had to change, and it had to change immediately, which meant I had to get aggressive with, how I was going about moving in and throughout the world. You know what I'm saying? On my day-to-day, I had to get radical. Sometimes radical change is necessary if you want to see radical results. And so me being a writer, me always loving to write and just tracking my thoughts on paper, I've always used that as an outlet. I've always used that as an indicator to kind of help me navigate where I was in time and space, and use that to reflect and kind of, you know, just shift gears if I needed to. Writing has always been that for me. And so I wrote and I wrote and I wrote, and I've always wrote. And, you know, people that know me know that I've always been into writing. 7 years old, I think that's probably when my love affair for writing began, when my mother gave me this cute little furry journal. But, you know, I use that as one of my outlets to kind of gauge, you know, where I was and how far I had become. And, you know, the journey continues, right? The journey continues because healing is not linear. You know what I'm saying? Like, healing, you know, you don't just say, okay, like, all right, in 3 months, you know, I'm just gonna be healed. Like, it's a continuous process. And I think that for me, healing, you know, is a choice. It's a choice that you consciously and consistently have to make every single day. You know what I'm saying? To just rid yourself of things that don't serve you, things that you don't identify with. You know, we're constantly being bombarded with people's thoughts and people's should be's and life telling you who you should be, what you should be, how you should, you know what I'm saying? So we're constantly having to intentionally just do away with that. And again, like I said, it's a journey. It's been a journey. It's still a journey. And it's a very intentional one. It's a very intentional one. Because let's be honest, like, all of us got some stuff. All of us got some baggage. All of us got some type of traumas that we're trying to deal with and heal from. All of us, each and every single last one of us, right? And, you know, it's a journey. It doesn't happen overnight. There is no straight line. There is no right or wrong way, but it does require you having to get naked. You know what I'm saying? Like, just completely getting naked and open and willing to be vulnerable and leaning into the process, leaning into the journey. You know what I'm saying? That's when your best self is going to be revealed to you. And that's, you know, been the case for myself. Just allowing myself to go there and continuously reminding myself to lean into the process, to lean into the journey. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a journey. It's a journey. It's a journey. Just trying to consciously elevate your consciousness and you know, move on a higher frequency and vibrate higher, and just, it's a process. It's a process. It's a journey. And it doesn't stop. But I don't want to stay on here too long, but I just wanted to talk a little bit about kind of those roots, you know, and how did the journey to bloom even come about? Where did that come from? So I just wanted to pop in and, you know, chit chat about that for a little bit. Again, thank you everybody who have purchased my book so far. You're gonna hear me saying thank you, you know, every chance I can, because that's important to me, that the people who support me know that I appreciate them dearly. So I hope everybody is enjoying their Friday and their weekend. Happy summer solstice, and you know, see you all later. Have a good night.